How did heavy metal really influence love, death, and robots? What part did Deadpool play in ensuring the show came to life? And is there really a sinister reason behind the randomized order of episodes for Netflix viewers? Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're watching Awesome Movies. It's heavy metal, or not so much. While Love, Death, and Robots might look like an idea that a couple of filmmakers decided on after discussing their mutual appreciation for animation and short film, that's not the real history of the show. It's actually rooted in another project that never really got off the ground. For years, Tim Miller and David Fincher had been bouncing around an idea of how they could get a remake of heavy metal done. And no, we're not talking about this kind of heavy metal. If you're unfamiliar with it, Heavy Metal was an adult anthology sci-fi film that became a cult classic in the 80s. It even received a sequel called Heavy Metal 2000 in, well, the year 2000. For Tim and David though, they were huge fans of it and knew it had the potential to be remade for a modern audience. Heck, they even brought in a collaborator in the form of Kevin Eastman, one of the co-creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But no matter how passionate they were about it, they struggled to get a buy-in from anyone else. Paramount Pictures was interested, however, the filmmakers couldn't get the necessary funding to make it happen. But it always stayed at the back of their minds, even as they carried on with other projects throughout the years. Eventually, a stroke of good luck helped their cause. Well, let's just say it was more of a certain foul-mouthed murk. Thank you, Deadpool. Have you thanked Wade Wilson for making your dreams come true today? Well, you should.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Because it was Tim Miller's directorial success with Deadpool that put him on the map and actually helped him to get Love, Death, and Robots off the ground, instead of just being another Hollywood creative casualty. Funny enough, this wasn't an overnight success for Tim. He's been grinding away for years with his animation company Blur Studio, working on huge projects and making a name for himself behind the scenes. He'd received an Academy Award nomination and even worked on Avatar as well. But once the biz saw what he could do with a popular comic book character like Deadpool, everyone sat up and took notice of him as a creative leader. He was receiving offers left, right, and center to make projects for studios and networks. David Fincher recognized this and even called his friend to say, "Okay, so we're going to use your newfound popularity to get our anthology movie made." But then David had an epiphany. Why were they so stuck on trying to make an anthology movie when there was another obvious option out there? And that's when the true nuts and bolts for Love, Death, and Robots started to finally come together. Netflix was the only option. If you think about it, there aren't many Hollywood studios taking risks nowadays. They only trust tried and tested formulas, refusing to take a chance on something new, except for Netflix. And David Fincher knew this. He believed the streaming giant would allow him and Tim Miller to do whatever they wanted with Love, Death, and Robots. Tim, though, had his reservations, believing Netflix would tell them to get lost with their grand and risky idea. But he was pleasantly surprised. He told IGN, when they said yes to the series, they said, "We don't have any data for anything like this. We don't know if it will be successful, but we think it's interesting. So we're willing to take a risk and go forth and prove that it is, in fact, something that people want to watch." Years ago, Tim and David argued about if people would watch anthology stories in a short video format. But now it's really one of the only ways that people consume content. The wheels of entertainment turned, and they certainly favored Tim and David's big idea. And despite Tim's work on franchises such as Deadpool, Terminator, and even Batman, he maintains that Love, Death, and Robots is his holy grail. Tim Miller's biggest dream. If you look at all of Tim's work throughout the ages, you'll find that he's touched nearly every big franchise under the sun. You name it, and he's done it. Though when you ask him what's the best thing he's ever worked on, he's not going to list Star Wars or Sonic the Hedgehog. In fact, Tim will tell you it's Love, Death, and Robots. In a previous interview, he said, "Love, Death, and Robots is my dream project. It combines my love of animation and amazing stories. Midnight movies, comics, books, and magazines of fantastic fiction have inspired me for decades, but they were relegated to the fringe culture of geeks and nerds of which I was a part. Having been a fan of the likes of adult-themed animation like Heavy Metal, he's ecstatic to be changing the creative landscape now in his own way. And there's no doubt that this passion shines through in the show, as each episode is uniquely animated but never short in imagination. More importantly, it's also giving a platform for short films, which are often not as glorified or recognized as full-length features. And Tim is also bringing along some friends for the ride like the next person we'll be discussing. Another Deadpool connection. No, Ryan Reynolds isn't in Love, Death, and Robots. Well, not yet at least, and it might not happen since there was news of tension between him and Tim Miller, which led to the director leaving Deadpool 2. But there is another Deadpool actor who featured both in Season 1 and Season 2 of the show, Nolan North. As one of the most in-demand voice actors around, Nolan has appeared in absolutely everything you can think of, from video games to animated movies. One of his biggest roles, though, was as the voice of the Merc with the Mouth in animated shows and even the Deadpool video game. So Love, Death, and Robots actually manages to merge the live-action and animated versions of Deadpool into one here. Of course, Nolan isn't the only known voice that appears in the series, as Season 2 features the talents of Michael B. Jordan, Elodie Yung, Joe Dempsey, and many others. But at the end of the day, it's all about the stories here, and that's something that no one involved in the show is willing to compromise on. And as it turns out, Netflix seems to be pretty happy too, especially since, drum roll please, Season 3 is already confirmed! While Netflix is the undoubted king of taking chances and creative risks, it's also ruthless in the numbers game. If the interest in a show dwindles, it gets pushed overboard quicker than, well, this. But if Netflix has faith in something, then the streaming giant goes all out to support it and delight the fan base. In the case of Love, Death, and Robots, someone is definitely backing the show, and it's obviously pulling in the desired numbers since Season 3 got announced way before the release of the current season. Who doesn't love to receive presents all times of the year? What has happened, though, is that the seasons are much more condensed and shorter than before. Season 1 gave us 18 episodes, while the latest is only 8 episodes. And it sounds like Season 3 will also just consist of 8. The good news is, it doesn't need to end there either, as Tim Miller has revealed that he has enough stories to even start working on Season 4 right now. All Netflix has to do is ask. Mind you, with so many quality science fiction short stories in the world, it's possible that Love, Death, and Robots could carry on forever if it wanted to, just as long as those numbers stay consistently high, right? The random episode order. Love, Death, and Robots is a difficult series to discuss with your friends if you don't know the episode titles, because most people just say episode 1 or 2, but that won't help anyone here since episodes are displayed in different orders for different users. It was quite the thing when it first dropped, as users wondered how Netflix determined which order to serve you. Some people believed it was based on algorithms, while others had more elaborate conspiracy theories that it was based on sexual identity or orientation. Were there really sinister reasons behind it? Well, if you consider creativity sinister, Netflix actually had to release a statement to address the outrage, saying, "We've never had a show like Love, Death, and Robots before, so we're trying something completely new, presenting 4 different episode orders. The version you're shown has nothing to do with gender, ethnicity, or sexual identity, info we don't even have in the first place. And just like before, Season 2's episodes have also been randomized for users. Truth be told, it's kind of fun, and a hidden surprise since you don't know what you'll be getting. It makes for more insightful conversations with friends as well, because you'll need to discuss the story, first and foremost, not the order it's shown in. And hey, considering this is an anthology series, does an order really matter at all? Undoubtedly, Love, Death, and Robots is heating up Netflix at the moment. And speaking of love, but in this case, love and monsters, check out our sensational video about the hidden behind-the-scenes secrets of Dylan O'Brien's new flick. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome!